Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm driving the 2022 Grand Cherokee L, the new 3-row seater from Jeep, and I'll be giving you my thoughts on this car as well as showing you around, and also I'll be talking about a fundamental flaw this car has that nobody seems to be talking about. Now this is Jeep's first attempt at a 3-row SUV, and releasing the 3-row before the standard Grand Cherokee just goes to show that how important it is to them to get this car out, and however important this segment is. It's getting very saturated. You got everything from Kia, Hyundai, Mercedes, BMW, everyone's doing it, and now so is Jeep. The version that I'm driving today is called the Altitude, and it's one trim level up from the entry level. However, you do get a ton of things with it, as well as an exterior styling package. Everything is sort of blacked out. The black appearance package that's included in the Altitude will cost you an extra $1,700 in other trim levels. Black grille, black logos, black window accents, and even black 20-inch wheels work really well with this red velvet metallic paint. The new shape of the Grand Cherokee is instantly recognizable from the front thanks to the famous 7-piece Jeep grille. Interestingly enough, in the Middle East, the Altitude also gets fog lights, unlike in the US. Jeep also decided that we should have our headlights on all the time, which I discovered later on while filming Rollers. I don't think I've ever seen that in a car before. The rear end of the Jeep is in line with the latest design trends, but in my opinion lacks a bit of character, mainly because the exhaust tips are hidden underneath the bumper. The side profile is more minimalistic than the previous generation, embracing the sheer size of the L. All in all, there's no question about its presence on the road. And if someone doesn't know anything about cars, they can look at this thing and be like, whoa, that looks really big and huge and luxurious. Just like when I see a yacht, and the bigger it is, the more I think it's expensive, and subconsciously I have to like it. The interior is absolutely massive. I've been in smaller hotel rooms than the interior space here. The seats are also incredibly big. If I move from one side of the bolster to the other, I literally feel like I'm almost switching time zones. Honestly, I can't believe that this SUV is classified as mid-size in the United States. With the third row up, boot space is around 487 liters. Nothing crazy, but put those seats down and it goes up to 1,330. That's almost double what the BMW X7 has with its measly 750 liters. Jeep really thought out the interior of the L, with every row having access to cup holders, air vents, and charging ports for wireless devices. The second row has ample space for even the tallest of people, while the third is best suited for children. Storage space is generous throughout the Jeep, making it good for road trips and daily routine runs alike. The finishing up front is classic Jeep with lots of leather and double stitching, and the Altitude gets a mix of leather and cloth seats, which many agree to be better than the full leather option. The infotainment system is placed naturally in the middle and doesn't feel like an afterthought, as some brands like to stick a tablet on the dash and call it a day. Even though the screen is smaller than the more expensive trim, it never felt like I was missing out. It's very responsive with bright colors and doesn't have a factory navigation system. Thankfully, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay come as standard, so you can use your preferred map app to find your next destination. The gauge cluster is now fully electronic and is loaded with more information than you will probably ever need. And that's one thing I really like about American cars, that you get so much kit in these bundles or versions, and it feels like you're getting so much more value than the equivalent German European SUV. The V6 in this Grand Cherokee develops 290 horsepower and around 257 pound-feet of torque. That's good enough to move it to 100 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour in 8 seconds. And if you're into your towing, it can move around 6,200 pounds. If you need more than that, then you'd have to go for the V8, which adds another 1,000 pounds pounds on top of that. The engine is paired with an 8-speed ZF gearbox, and usually I would say that's not enough, you need a V8. But in my opinion, the V6 is a much better option than the V8 because you get better fuel economy. Right now, it's ridiculously high just because it's a brand new car. But consumers have been reporting just under 12 liters per 100 kilometers, which is around 20 mpg, which is fantastic for a vehicle this large. The throttle response, for example, is so quick that you barely need to touch the accelerator. That's 20%. You can hear it's already switching and going. Kind of figures out what you want to do before you know what you want to do. Now, being a family SUV, this car has an array of safety features: lane departure assist, pedestrian assist warnings, radar guided cruise control, sensors here and there. The thing is constantly beeping at me when I'm on the highway because it's not used to the frantic and hectic drivers of the Middle East. So it's practically impossible to murder. Visibility is awesome. You got big windows. You can actually use the rear view mirror. The Altitude doesn't come with that 360 camera, so if you're iffy with parking big vehicles like this, you might want to think about the Limited. The turning circle is not that great, which is kind of expected with a big vehicle and with a wheelbase like this. And when you turn around, you want to do it slowly, not going too fast, because it does have massive amounts of roll, which brings me to that fundamental problem I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Because this is a Jeep, it needs to do sort of well off-road, and that ethos hinders this vehicle more than anything else. For example, I wanted to say that this is a very comfortable vehicle. The seats are extremely comfortable, the finishing is nice, everything you touch is nice and leather. So yes, it does have the basis. And when you start off, I mean, that corner was lovely. It's like driving through butter. But when the suspension is asked to do more than one thing at the same time, it unsettles itself. There's like a little bit of jerkiness here and there. Kind of like when you have a pickup truck and the back isn't loaded up, it kind of springs and jumps around. Now, I suspect that Jeep knew about this little issue and planned to solve it with air suspension. Because of the chip shortage we're having right now, they're kind of phasing air suspension out quietly, not really saying much. And then there's the stance. It's too high up. Literally destroys fuel economy for one, and who's gonna off-road in this? Maybe the Limited that has all of the off-road stuff, but this doesn't even have that. It only has a sport mode. Overall, the Grand Cherokee L is a very good 3-row SUV. It does absolutely everything, and for a lot of people, that'll be good enough, as well as great value. To me, I think they could have done better. They could have just dropped that off-road capability. Want to go off-road? Why don't you just get a Wrangler? Anyways, what do I know? Let me know down in the comment section what you think of the 2022 Grand Cherokee L. And like this video if you're still here, as well as subscribe for more future content as well for that limited edition, just a limited version of the Grand Cherokee coming soon. Thank you for watching and take care.